Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Retno Puspitasari, and today I will present chapter 3 from the book Teaching in a Digital Age. The title is Methods of Teaching Campus Focus. Okay, so there are 8 points in this chapter. The first one is about 5 perspectives of teaching. So it cannot be said that theories of learning will guide to teaching methods, as Pratt in 1998 distinguished 5 principles of teaching that may relate to theories of learning and lead to teaching methods. There are transmission, it's dealing with the delivering content, and second one is apprenticeship, is about learning by doing approach, and then developmental. Okay, in here we will develop the thinking ways of the students, and then for the nurturing, the teacher will promote the student's belief of his or her ability, and the last is social reform, where the teacher look for higher quality society. And the next is the origins of the classroom design models. So some design models are still set in tradition and convention. One of the example is classroom-based model, where learners are managed in classes that meet on a regular basis at the same place at certain times of the day for a given length of time over a given term or semester. However, the society has changed. For many years, teachers have used a wide variety of teaching approaches within the overall institutional framework, though the way teachers teach is usually influenced by the institutions. Teachers need to examine which of the methods built around the classroom model are still suitable for today's society. Moreover, it can be a challenge for teachers to build new or modified institutional structures that would meet today's need better. Next, we move to the transformative lectures. This is the learning by listening. So, as one of the most traditional forms of classroom teaching, it is the lecture. As Blight said in 2000, lectures are continual material explained by speakers once the audience choose to learn something. And the term lecture itself comes from the Latin meaning a reading. Lectures belong to longer oral traditions of learning, where knowledge is transmitted by word of mouth from one generation to the next. Though there are some inventions of printing press, radio, television, and internet, the lecture in which the instructors are talking to the students still becomes the methodology that mostly used in many institutions. And Blight has a research on the effectiveness of lectures, and these are the results. It is said that the lecture, like other methods, is effective for transmitting information, but it is not so effective for promoting thought and then changing attitudes or values, increasing interest in subject, or teaching behavioral skills. The lecture will be effective if it's combined with other activities that forcing students to use the information. Although there is new technology to support a lecture, the lecture should still engage to its own purpose in order to make the students focus on it. In a digital age, the lecture will work well in some occasions. In the future, the lecture might be found in special events or in a multimedia learning, combining synchronous and asynchronous teaching. Next, interactive lectures, seminars, and tutorials. This is the learning by talking. Theories like in constructivisms and connectivisms and researchers advise that there should be a frequent student-student and student-teacher interaction as a kind of learning needed in a digital age. It can be in the form of semi-structured discussion. A seminar is a group meeting consists of 6 to 30 students, where the students can be as active as the teachers. The teacher will facilitate topics to be discussed, and individual tasks that can be done before or after the discussion. The form can be by giving the students a chance to have presentations in each meeting, or asking the students to do reading first before the meeting, and after that the teacher will provide some questions to be discussed in the meeting. And for the tutorial, it is a small discussion than a seminar. It can be between a teacher and a student, or a group of 3 or 4 students, where the students can be active in the discussion and the presentation. The form can be one student share his or her findings, and then the teacher will give questions based on what the students share. And this discussion form can be done either face to face or online. Now about the apprenticeship or learning by doing one. Okay, learning by doing is not only common for teaching motor skills, but it can also be in the form of teaching practice, medical internships, and laboratory studies. Apprenticeship is one of the ways to facilitate students to have learning by doing. Learning in apprenticeship is not just about learning to do or active learning, but also requires an understanding of the context in which the learning will be applied, a social and cultural element to the learning, understanding and embedding the accepted practices, customs, and values of experts in the field. Okay, there are 2 kinds of apprenticeship said by Pratt and Johnson in 1998. There are traditional apprenticeship, which deal with developing motor or manual skills in stages, and cognitive apprenticeship. It's deal with the concerning what students thinking and making explicit context during the knowledge development. Traditional apprenticeship is more observable than the cognitive one. And then the apprenticeship model of teaching can work best in online format, because since the students can study the materials when they are not working. Okay, now the learning by doing 2 or experiential learning. Experiential learning focuses on learners reflecting on their experience of doing something to gain conceptual insight as well as practical expertise. These are some experiential design model. First is laboratory, workshop, or studio work. Students are able to understand the principles or theories after observing the phenomena. The second is problem-based learning. Okay, this approach is increasingly used where the knowledge base is rapidly expanding and where it is impossible for students to master all the knowledge in the domain within a limited period of study. The steps derived from digital cellulars are clarify concepts, and then define problem, discuss or analyze problem, identify possible explanations or solution, and then set tasks or learning objectives. Okay, these 5 will be done in a group. Okay, and then for the 6 about the research solution can be done individually actually, and for the last steps, the synthesized result or solution or reflect, it can be done again in the break group in the classroom. It best work. This problem-based learning best works in blended learning with synchronous and asynchronous activity. Next is case-based learning. It is more flexible than problem-based learning. The 5 steps of case-based learning recommended by Irby 1994 are doing basic teaching in a specific case, and then involving students to discuss, analyze, make recommendation of the case, and then being a thinking and action instructors when having discussion with the students, and providing directions and feedback. And the last one is creating a collaborative learning environment. This can be done through blended or fully online learning. And then project-based learning. Okay, this learning is almost the same like case-based learning, but the scope is broader and longer. The problem given is more into the student's real work, so that the students has a more responsibility and sense of belonging to the learning activities. Still, it needs a careful design and monitoring from the teacher. And the last one is inquiry-based learning. It is like a project-based learning, but the teacher's role is not as active as in project-based. Still, the teacher will give help and guidance if it's needed. And then, based on Banchi and Bells in 2008, they provide these levels of inquiry. First, confirmation, and then structures, guided, and the last one is open and true inquiry. The teacher's involvement is decreased in each level of the inquiry. It is advised that this experiential learning best done in online learning, yet it also can be done blended with some consideration. The effective experiential learning needs a detailed planning and well-structured teaching if it should cover the curriculum fully. In here, the teacher also guide and support the students in doing their tasks. Next is about the nurturing and social reforms of teaching or learning by feeling. This is the fourth and the fifth principles perspective of Pratt. So in the nurturing perspective, teacher needs to encourage the students' willingness to learn by focusing on the students' interests, giving empathy in the process of students' learning, listening attentively to what the students say and think, and giving supportive and suitable response. And about the social reforms, in here Pratt in 1998 said, teachers as social reformers should know how to create their teaching becomes a contribution that suits to the society needs in order to be a better society. These two perspectives are important since it relates with connectivisms. Nowadays, the students can access the information or knowledge through internet. They can connect to others with the same interest to have the support and feedback. And these two perspectives are more likely to be student-centered because the students should have the capability and ability to identify what their educational needs and what they need, and also look for the support from the teacher or others with the same interest. So at the conclusion, teaching is essentially a pragmatic profession, and teachers will do what it takes to get the job done. So there's no rule that one teaching method is for one learning theory. And then the next one, teachers who have good understanding of teaching methods and learning theories, as well as their epistemological foundation, will exactly know how to teach in a specific context and choose the technology for the learning task or context. And then teachers need to decide the classroom teaching method that will support the development of the knowledge and skills that the students need in a digital age. The factors that may influence the decision are the nature, the prior knowledge and experience of the students, the particular subject area demands, the institutional context that teachers and students belong to, and the students' employment context. And the last, in a digital age, teachers need to combine different methods of teaching to give a rich learning environment for students to develop skills that includes contextual relevance and opportunities for practice, discussion, and feedback. Thank you for that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.